A drier than usual spring has prompted warnings to conserve water in some parts of the country, while farmers fear they're heading for a second dry year in a row. Most of New Zealand has had less rainfall than usual over the past 3 months, causing soil moisture levels to dry up. Masterton finds out why it's happening and what effect it's having.
If you've noticed it's been a drier spring than usual, you're not alone. In Wairarapa, Masterton residents are not allowed to use handheld hoses because the water supply from the Wainawa River is running very low. Masterton District Council's David Hopman says the region has only had 31 millimetres of rainfall in the last month, which is well below the average.
The health of our rivers is very, very important, so when they are low, we do need to minimise our water use. But if we don't get that rain and going through, we've got a lot of summer ahead of us, we potentially will be imposing further and even potentially total hose ban restrictions into the summer.
Further south, Gore has established a task force to prepare for a water shortage instead of reacting to circumstances like it did last summer. Niwa Principal Forecaster Chris Brandolino says it's been abnormally dry for the past 3 months, with some areas getting just 50% of rainfall compared to last year. And it's having a big impact underfoot.
Pretty much the entire North Island is at some degree of dryness for the time of year in terms of the soil moisture. Same can be said for the upper South Island. So basically just north of Christchurch all the way to the top of the South Island, soil moistures are running low for the time of year.
Mr. Brandolino says the lack of rainfall is even having effect on our hydro lakes, which are just 35% full. In some parts of Canterbury, farmers are already having to turn their irrigators on. Mid-Canterbury Federated Farmers President Michael Salverson says that's because frosts and drier than usual conditions have stopped water flowing down from the hills into the region's rivers.
It's not dried up quite as quick as it might have done, but mindful of what happened last year, where through November into December we had, I think it was 42 days without any rainfall in Christchurch on the lower plains, and so therefore if that happens again we'll be in pretty deep trouble again pretty quick.
Mr. Salverson says it's too early to throw the drought word around yet, but farmers are keeping an eye on the skies. While the majority of the New Zealand agriculture industry is crying out for rain, others are hoping the skies stay clear. New Zealand Kiwi Fruit Growers Chief Executive Nikki Johnson says Bay of Plenty growers need the sunshine as the season kicks into gear.
It's actually really important for the bees to be able to do their job that we give them some good weather and some sunshine. So for us the critical period for water is a bit later in the year when we're talking about fruit set and fruit sizing.
Most of the country should get a light dousing of rain later this week, but Niwa's Chris Brandolino warns the rest of the year is unlikely to be wet.
Above normal rainfall for the 3-month period as a whole looks pretty unlikely. It's not a zero chance, but if you're placing odds, the highest odds are for rainfall to be normal or below normal for pretty much the entire country, less the eastern part of the North Island.
So it might not just be Masterton facing water restrictions this summer. For Checkpoint, Matt Chatterton.